They say my sisters are materialistic. Well, we know that doesn't just apply to my sisters. We know that. We absolutely know that. You can look across every platform there is out there. Look at the TikTok. Like I said, I'm not on these platforms, but I see, certain content people that I follow, and they just had the thing about some Christmas hauls or these different hauls that are going viral. And a lot of those hauls that I've seen, they weren't my sisters. So this materialistic thing, again, we know that part of that, not even part of that, probably majority of that comes from the interaction with our brothers. Our brothers want to say that, you know what, these women, you have to buy them the bags, and you got to buy them the clothing and the shoes, and they got to take them out on, these exotic trips and all this other stuff. Are there some sisters who are quote unquote gold diggers? Yeah, but that's always been the case with a lot of different folks and cultures, of wanting to have the best, wanting to be pampered. That's just a cult of personality of folks being that way, not a stigma of a whole species of women, that black women are the most materialistic women out there. All of that stuff you can see across the boards. Now, if somebody wants to be pampered, somebody wants to be cared for, someone wants to be looked after, they all are going to have that same type of trait. It's something that you absolutely see just in anybody. You can look at the men. There are men out there. Some of my brothers who wear all of these different types of clothing. They've got to put on a front in front of the cameras with what type of car that they have, the clothes that they're wearing, the jewelry that they have, the girls that they claim they have, the lifestyle that they claim they live in. That's all material. That's all materialistic type stuff. But there are a lot of sisters out there. Again, you just don't, I keep saying, you're just not around them. There are sisters out there who are not into the materialistic things, because what's more important to them is being able to spend their money on things that are sustainable. Whether it's a house, whether it's a business, it's their family. You have a lot of sisters out there that are absolutely more in tune with things that are going to make or break how they live. So they choose not to spend a lot of money on these other items that you see that people think are, the most important thing for you to have. A lot of that stuff is just it's a stature type of thing that you have folks. And again, that's across the boards with a lot of folks. But some of my sisters aren't like that. Some of them are conserving what they have. They're not going out there spending the things that they don't necessarily have the ability to spend on. Because we do know that for my sisters, there's a socioeconomic issue as far as wages. So they don't have the ability to sit up there and spend all this money on all this material stuff. They have to work within their means. They've got to make sure that their household is together. Especially my sisters that have kids. Shoot, when I was coming up with my mom made sure that we had clothes on our back and she didn't have clothes on her back. Just because of the situation that she was in. So this materialistic thing, again, you're watching folks that are trying to project this image with looking a certain way, and that happens with all these other cultures out there. And then what do you find out when you see some of these news stories that break and they do investigations and they look more into these people's lives and they find out that these people were being fraudulent, they were stealing money, they were doing scams. The whole stuff that just occurred, I saw 2 girls that were on there, and not black sisters, 2 white girls on there, sisters or something like that. Come to find out that some of the stuff was fake, and they got backlash about that. So again, it's this imagery that people want to have folks believe in, that they're living a different type of lifestyle. And yes, again, some of my sisters, you will see that. You'll see them doing all the trips and all the other stuff. But did you ever ask yourself whether or not maybe some of these women can afford that? I know some sisters who can afford that stuff. They can afford that lifestyle. They get paid that way. So if they choose to be materialistic and they could afford to be that way, so be it, right? We all have our own interests, our wants, our needs, the way that we want to live, the way that we want to be treated. So be it. If it doesn't affect you, what's the problem? What's the issue? But I know what the issue is. Sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, you have folks that don't want to see you in that position. They don't want to see you live that lifestyle. They don't want you to be in that position. They want you to be beneath them. So what they do is they'll throw out the stuff as, hey, they're gold diggers, they're materialistic, they're this, they're that. They start throwing out the stigmas. Yeah. Because you look at yourself and you're like, hey, they don't belong in that position. They're not supposed to be above me. I don't care what the situation is. They're not supposed to be above me. So you throw that stuff out there to denigrate, to be negative. We know what the deal is. So, materialistic and my sisters, some are, some aren't. But if they choose to be, if they can maintain it and not hurt themselves, then what difference does it make? There's plenty of reality shows out here that these women do all this crazy stuff, and then you find out that, again, there's some fraud, or they can't maintain, or it was just an imagery that was put out there. But again, if my sisters can afford it, allow them to do what they want to do. We're only here once on this earth. So if you choose that that's what you want to spend your time and your money on, then go do it. More power to you. It ain't hurting nobody else. And as it relates to my men, you don't have to be with those women. You know what I mean? What the freak? You don't have to be with them. If you think that they're breaking your pockets like that, then move on. Why are you complaining about it? Why are you posting videos about all this stuff? That's just you attracting those folks. And because you can't put yourself in a position where you are able to be that way, that you're able to afford that type of lifestyle for these girls, now you want to complain about it, but you're the one who's attracting those women to you. Other than that, just go get yourself a young lady who's not into the materialistic type stuff. That's it. You're trying to prove something to them, and then you can't prove it, and then you got to put these videos out. You know what I mean? Come on, man, what the nonsense? And I got a channel for men, my other channel, at That Blanos. I got another channel, and it talks specifically to the men about positive stuff and how my men should be looking and doing in their life. We both got to come together. We got to both do better by each other. So I'm not trying to knock either one, especially not my black men, especially not my black women. I'm not trying to knock either one. I'm just saying that we got to come together and stop this fighting and all this other nonsense that you see these channels are constantly producing. That's what they want. They want that division. We got to do better as a race. We got to come together and start working to be better so that we can have a better future for ourselves and for our kids, the next generation along and along. Because all these other races, they're not caring about us. They're not worried about us. Let them fight. That's what they want. Let them fight. They'll still be below. They'll still be below that barrel. But we got to come up and get ours just like everybody else is getting ours. And we can't do that with all the fighting. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to catch you on the next note. Peace out.